Admiral Crix stared at the old files on his screen. His blue skin turned darker as he read the warning labels. Danger. Stay away from Sol System flashed in red letters. The report was 200 years old, but the Galactic Command still followed. Its rules. He opened the first document. It was written by Captain Lorvex, a brave explorer who had visited Earth long ago. The words made Crix feel cold. The humans are too violent, the report said. They split atoms to make bombs before they learn to travel between stars. They fight wars over small pieces of land. They kill their own kind for different beliefs. These creatures must never be allowed into space. Crix closed that file and opened another. This one had pictures. He saw humans in metal suits, carrying weapons. They were fighting each other on a planet covered in smoke and fire. The next picture showed a bright flash, one of their atomic weapons destroying a city. They are not ready, the report continued. They may never be ready. All ships must avoid the Sol System. If humans ever reach space, they will bring chaos to our peaceful galaxy. Crix had read these files many times. Every officer in the Galactic Command knew about Earth. It was the Forbidden World, the place no one could visit. The humans were trapped there, and everyone wanted to keep it that way. Far away from Admiral Crix, on the third planet of the Sol System, Captain Jake Morrison walked through the halls of the Space Center. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. He was nervous, but tried not to show it. Today is the day, he said to himself. First faster-than-light flight by a human crew. Jake had trained for this mission for 5 years. He knew every part of the new ship. The Enterprise Dawn was humanity's greatest achievement. It could travel faster than light, something humans had only dreamed about. He entered the main room where his crew waited. Lisa Carter looked up from her computer. She was the best engineer on Earth. Her job was to keep the ship's new engine working. "Good morning, Captain," Lisa said. "The FTL drive is ready." All systems looked good. Ben Hayes sat at another station. He was in charge of communications. His job was to talk to Earth while they were away. "Radio is working fine, sir," he reported. Doctor. Amy Phillips checked her equipment one more time. She was a scientist who studied life on other planets. Even though they didn't expect to find any aliens, she was ready just in case. Ryan Clark stood near the door. He was the security chief. His job was to protect the crew if they found any danger. He didn't think they would need protection on a simple test flight, but he was prepared anyway. The mission was supposed to be easy. They would fly to Proxima Centauri, the closest star to Earth. They would take pictures, collect information, and come home. The whole trip should take just 2 weeks. Everyone ready? Jake asked his crew. They all nodded. Jake sat in the captain's chair and pressed a button. "Control, this is Enterprise Dawn. We are ready to begin humanity's first FTL mission." "Copy that, Enterprise Dawn," came the voice from Earth. "You are cleared for launch. Good luck out there." The ship lifted off from the launch pad. It flew up through Earth's atmosphere and into space. Jake looked down at his home planet. It looked small and blue against the black of space. "Setting course for Proxima Centauri," announced Katie Barnes, their pilot. She was young but very skilled at flying spacecraft. "FTL drive charging," Lisa reported. "We'll be ready to jump in 60 seconds. Jake felt excited. Humans had wondered about traveling to other stars for hundreds of years. Now they were actually doing it. "FTL drive ready," Lisa announced. "Jump when ready," Jake ordered. The ship began to shake. Lights flashed on the control panels. Then everything went quiet. Through the windows, Jake could see that the stars looked different. "Jump complete," Katie said. But then she frowned at her instruments. "Captain, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" Jake asked. "We're not at Proxima Centauri," Katie said. "The navigation computer made an error. We jumped much farther than planned." Lisa quickly checked her systems. The FTL drive took damage during the jump. Something went wrong with the power flow. Ben Hayes was listening to his radio equipment. "Captain, I'm picking up signals." "There." "Not from Earth." Jake felt his heart beat faster. "What kind of signals?" "They sound like radio transmissions, but I can't understand the language," Ben said. "Wait, ... there's something else." The signals became clearer. A voice spoke in words they had never heard before. But then a computer started translating the alien language into English. "Warning to all ships," the voice said. "Maintain safe distance from Sol system inhabitants. Do not approach the Forbidden Zone. Humans are dangerous and unpredictable." Jake and his crew looked at each other in shock. The universe was full of aliens, and they all knew about Earth. More importantly, they were all afraid of humans. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "we're not alone in the universe." "And they don't want anything to do with us," Ryan added. Jake stared out at the alien stars. Everything had changed in just a few minutes. Humans thought they were alone, but the galaxy was full of life. And for some reason, everyone out here thought humans were too dangerous to meet. "Lisa, how long to fix the drive?" Jake asked. "At least a few days, maybe a week," she replied. Jake made a decision that would change everything. "Then we're going to find out why the galaxy is afraid of us." The Enterprise Dawn, humanity's first starship, drifted through alien space. Its crew had no idea that their simple test flight would soon turn the galaxy upside down. They also didn't know that somewhere far away, Admiral Crix was about to receive a report that would terrify him. The humans had escaped from Earth after 200 years of careful avoidance. The forbidden species was now loose among the stars. 3 days had passed since the Enterprise Dawn arrived in alien space. Lisa Carter worked without sleep, trying to fix the damaged FTL drive. Her hands were dirty with grease, and her eyes were red from tiredness. "How much longer?" "Captain Jake," Morrison asked. "Maybe 2 more days," Lisa said. "The power systems are more damaged than I thought." Ben Hayes looked up from his radio station. "Captain, I'm getting more alien signals. They're getting stronger." "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Ben listened carefully. "Same warnings about humans. But now they're talking about something else. Pirates, maybe? The word keeps coming up." Dr. Amy Phillips had been studying the alien languages for 3 days. "I think pirates is right," she said. "They're warning about dangerous ships in this area." Suddenly, Katie Barnes called out from the pilot's seat. "Captain, we have company." 2 ships approaching fast. Jake looked at the main screen. 2 spacecraft were coming toward them. One was sleek and silver, with strange markings on its hull. The other was smaller and darker, with weapons clearly visible. "The silver ship is trying to talk to us," Ben reported. "They're using the same language as the warnings." "Can you understand what they're saying?" Jake asked. Ben worked with his computer to translate. "They're telling us to go home immediately. They say humans must return to Sol system." Jake frowned. "And the other ship?" "No signals from them," Ben said. "But they're moving into attack position." "On the silver ship, Commander." Zeph stared at his screens. He was an Altarian, with green skin and large eyes. He had never seen a human ship before, but he knew the stories. His orders were simple: make the humans go home and avoid any contact. "Sir," his officer said, "the human ship isn't moving. They're not responding to our commands." "Keep sending the message," Zeph ordered. "They must return to their system." "Commander, we have another problem," the officer said. "Pirates. 3 ships from the Vega Syndicate." Zeph felt cold fear. The Vega pirates were ruthless killers. They attacked anyone they found, took what they wanted, and destroyed the rest. His ship was armed, but 3 pirate ships would be too much. "Send the distress signal," he ordered. "Tell Fleet Command we need help." "Sir, help won't arrive in time," the officer replied. The pirate ships opened fire. Bright energy beams shot through space, hitting both the human ship and the Altarian vessel. The Enterprise Dawn shook as the weapons struck its hull. "Shields down to 60%, Ryan Clark reported. "We're taking heavy damage." Jake had to make a quick decision. He could try to run, but their FTL drive was broken. He could surrender, but pirates didn't usually take prisoners. Or he could fight alongside the aliens, even though they wanted nothing to do with humans. "Katie, bring us close to the silver ship," Jake ordered. "Sir?" Katie asked, confused. "If we're going to die out here, we're not going to die alone," Jake said. "Ben, try to contact the aliens. Tell them we want to help." Ben sent the message. On the Altarian ship, Commander Zeph couldn't believe what he was hearing. "The humans want to fight with us?" he asked. "That's what they're saying, sir," his officer replied. Zeph had read all the reports about humans. They were violent and unpredictable, but they were also offering to help him fight pirates. He made a choice that went against 200 years of orders. "Tell them to follow our lead," he said. The battle began in earnest. The pirate ships were bigger and had more weapons, but Jake had an idea. Instead of fighting like the aliens expected, he decided to fight like a human. "Katie, ram the lead pirate ship," he ordered. "Sir?" Katie said, shocked. "You heard me. Full speed ahead." Katie had trained for normal space battles, not suicide runs. But she trusted her captain. The Enterprise Dawn accelerated directly toward the largest pirate ship. The pirates were so surprised that they forgot to shoot. No one had ever tried to ram their ship before. At the last second, Katie pulled up hard, scraping along the pirate ship's hull. The Enterprise Dawn's shields sparked and flashed, but the pirate ship lost its main weapons. "Now, while they're confused," Jake ordered. "Katie, hit them with everything we have." Weapons Officer Danny Ross had replaced Katie at the weapons station. He had never fired real weapons before, only practiced in simulators. His hands shook as he pressed the firing button. The Enterprise Dawn's weapons were not as powerful as the pirate guns, but they hit their target perfectly. The damaged pirate ship exploded in a ball of fire. Commander Zeph watched in amazement. The humans had just destroyed a pirate ship by doing something completely crazy. No military training taught ramming as a battle tactic. "Sir, the humans are attacking the second pirate ship," his officer reported. Jake's plan was working. The pirates expected normal tactics, but humans didn't fight normally. Katie flew the ship in wild patterns that no pilot would try. Danny fired weapons at strange angles that shouldn't work, but somehow did. The second pirate ship tried to run, but Katie was faster. She chased it down while Danny kept shooting. Soon, the second ship was also destroyed. The third pirate ship decided to retreat. It jumped away at faster-than-light speed, leaving the humans and aliens alone. "Battle over," Jake announced to his crew. "Everyone okay?" Dr. Grace Turner, their medical officer, checked on the crew. Everyone was shaken but unhurt. "We're all fine, Captain," she reported. "Ben, contact the alien ship," Jake ordered. "Ask if they need help." The message went out. On the Altarian ship, Commander Zeph was treating his wounded crew members. The battle had damaged his ship badly. "Sir, the humans are offering medical help," his officer said. Zeph thought carefully. His medical officer was hurt, and 3 crew members needed treatment. He had orders never to let humans on his ship, but his people were dying. Tell them they can send their doctor over," he said. Dr. Grace Turner put on a spacesuit and flew over to the alien ship in a small shuttle. She had never seen an alien before, but her job was to help anyone who was hurt. When she entered the Alterian ship, she saw Commander Zeph waiting for her. He was tall and thin, with green skin and large black eyes. For a moment, they just stared at each other. "I'm Dr. Turner," Grace said. "Where are the injured?" Zeph led her to the medical bay. Grace looked at the wounded aliens and saw that they were not so different from humans. They bled red blood, and their hearts beat in their chests. "I can help them," she said, and got to work. For the next 3 hours, Grace treated alien wounds with human medicine. She saved 2 lives and helped the others recover. Commander Zeph watched her work and began to understand that the reports about humans might be wrong. When Grace finished, Zeph walked her back to her shuttle. "Thank you," he said in careful English. "You saved my crew." "Anyone would have done the same," Grace replied, but Zeph knew that wasn't true. In 200 years, no alien species had ever risked their lives to help strangers the way these humans had done. As Grace flew back to the Enterprise Dawn, Zeph made a decision that would change galactic history. He sent a message to Fleet Command. "This is Commander Zeph," he reported. "I need to speak with Admiral Crix immediately. The humans are not what we thought they were." Back on the Enterprise Dawn, Jake looked out at the stars. They had just fought their first space battle and met their first aliens. Everything was different now. "Captain," Lisa called out. "Good news. The battle shook something loose. The FTL drive is working again." Jake smiled. "Then it's time to go exploring. We need to learn more about our new neighbors." The Enterprise Dawn turned toward the nearest star system, carrying the first humans to ever fly free among the aliens. Behind them, Commander Zeph was, already sending reports that would terrify the Galactic Command and change everything they thought they knew about the species from the Forbidden's world. The Great Council Chamber on Centauri Prime had never been so full of angry voices. Representatives from 50 different worlds argued about what to do with the humans. The chamber was huge, with floating seats for different types of alien bodies. Some breathed water, others needed special gas to live. Chancellor Vex stood at the center podium. He was from the Andromedan Collective, tall and gray with 4 arms. His voice was deep and carried across the chamber. "The reports are clear," Vex announced. "The humans have escaped their system. They attacked and destroyed pirate ships. They helped Commander Zeph's crew. This changes everything." Counselor Thyra floated in her water-filled bubble. She was from the Peaceful Trade Alliance, a species that looked like large fish with hands. "Maybe the old reports were wrong," she said. "These humans saved lives. They showed mercy to strangers. They also destroyed 2 ships without hesitation." Vex replied. "They used tactics no civilized species would try. Ramming attacks? It's madness." Admiral Crix entered the chamber. His blue skin was pale with worry. He had been the one to receive Commander Zeph's report. Now he had to explain to the Council what had happened. "Tell us what you know," Chancellor Vex ordered. Crix activated a hologram that showed the battle. A council watched as the Enterprise Dawn rammed a pirate ship, then destroyed it with weapons fire. "They fight like berserkers," muttered Counselor Drex from the Military Alliance. He was a large, rock-like creature. No discipline, no proper formation. They could have been killed. But they weren't killed, Thyra pointed out. They won, and then they helped the wounded. The arguments went on for hours. Half the council wanted to send a fleet to force the humans back to Earth. The other half wanted to try talking to them first. Back on Earth, President Helen Martinez sat in her office reading reports from space. The Enterprise Dawn had sent messages. Back home, telling everyone about the aliens and the battle with pirates. General Pete Morrison knocked on her door. He was Jake's father and had been preparing for this day for years. In secret, he had written plans for what to do if humans ever met aliens. "Madam President," Pete said, "we need to act fast. My son's crew is flying blind out there. They don't know anything about alien politics or customs." Helen nodded. "What do you suggest?" "Send a diplomatic team," Pete replied. "Pick our best people and send them to make contact properly." Helen thought about this. Earth had never had alien ambassadors before. Who would be qualified for such an important job? "I want Nick Thompson for this," she decided. Nick was Earth's best negotiator. He had solved problems between countries that others couldn't fix. "Good choice," Pete agreed. "We'll also need Dr. Carla Stevens. She's our best expert on languages. If anyone can learn to speak with aliens, it's her." Professor Tony Hughes was chosen to study alien cultures. He had spent his life learning about different human societies. Now he would learn about alien ones. Meanwhile, the Enterprise Dawn had docked at a space station called Haven Point. It was a trading post where many different alien species came to buy and sell goods. Captain Jake Morrison and his crew were the first humans anyone there had ever seen. Lisa. Carter walked through the station's engineering section with a group of alien mechanics. They were amazed by her ideas for improving their power systems. "You want to increase the plasma flow by how much?" asked Grix, an engineer with tentacles instead of arms. 20%, Lisa replied. "It's simple. You just need to adjust the magnetic containment field." The aliens looked at each other. They had been building reactors for hundreds of years, but they had never thought of Lisa's idea. "It might work," Grix admitted. "But what if something goes wrong?" "Then we fix it," Lisa said with a smile. "That's how humans learn." In the medical bay, Dr. Grace Turner was sharing human medicine with alien doctors. She showed them how to treat injuries that alien medicine couldn't fix. Dr. Yex was a spider-like creature with many eyes. He watched Grace work with great interest. "Your techniques are very different," he said. "Different doesn't mean wrong," Grace replied. "Sometimes a new way of thinking can solve old problems." Captain Jake Morrison met with the station commander, a being called Roth, who looked like a walking tree. Roth was nervous about having humans on his station. "My people have heard stories about your species," Roth said carefully. "What kind of stories?" Jake asked. "That you are violent, that you destroy things, that you cannot be trusted." Jake thought about this. Some humans are violent, that's true. But most of us just want to live in peace and help others. "The pirates you destroyed might disagree," Roth pointed out. "The pirates were trying to kill innocent people," Jake replied. "Sometimes violence is necessary to protect others." This idea confused Roth. Most alien species tried to avoid conflict at all costs. They would rather run away than fight. Even to save lives, Dr. Amy Phillips spent her time in the station's library learning about alien biology. She discovered that humans were different from other species in many ways. "We heal faster than most aliens," she told Jake. "We can eat a wider variety of foods. We can live in more extreme environments." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "It means humans are tougher than most species in the galaxy," Amy replied. "Maybe that's why everyone is afraid of us." Ben Hayes was in the communications center, learning about alien technology. He discovered that the galaxy had been at peace for over 100 years. "No major wars?" Ben asked the alien operator. "None," replied Zik, a small blue creature. "We solve problems by talking, not fighting." "But what about pirates and criminals?" Ben asked. "We try to avoid them," Zik said. "Fighting them just makes more violence." Ben thought about the recent battle. Humans had fought the pirates to protect. Commander Zeph. Most aliens would have just run away. News of the humans spread quickly through the galaxy. Some aliens were curious about them. Others were terrified. Everyone agreed that the old policy of avoiding Earth was no longer working. On Centauri Prime, the Council was still arguing. Chancellor Vex received a message from Haven Point Station. It was a report about the human crew and their strange behavior. They're sharing their technology freely, the report said. They're helping alien doctors learn new treatments. They're making friends with everyone they meet. Counselor Farrer read the report with interest. These don't sound like dangerous monsters, she said. Or they could be very clever monsters, Vex replied. Maybe they're trying to trick us. Admiral. Crix wasn't sure what to think. The humans were definitely different from other species. They were braver, more willing to take risks, and they didn't seem to understand the concept of avoiding conflict. What if we're looking at this wrong? Asked Counselor Nex from the Science Alliance. She was a floating jellyfish-like creature. What if the humans aren't dangerous to us? What if they're dangerous to our enemies? This was a new idea. The galaxy had been safe for a long time, but safety sometimes meant weakness. The pirates attacked because they knew most aliens wouldn't fight back. The humans destroyed 3 pirate ships in one battle, Admiral Crix said slowly. It took our fleet 6 months to stop those same pirates. Chancellor Vex realized that everything was changing. The humans were already loose in the galaxy. The question now was whether to treat them as enemies or as allies. We need more information, he decided. Send Ambassador Quinn to meet with the humans. Let him decide if they can be trusted. Ambassador Quinn was the galaxy's best diplomat. If anyone could understand the humans, it would be him. On the Enterprise Dawn, Captain Jake Morrison received a message from Earth. President Martinez was sending a diplomatic team to help make contact with the aliens. But the team wouldn't arrive for weeks. We're on our own until then, Jake told his crew. Let's make sure we represent humanity well. None of them knew that their actions were being watched by the entire galaxy. Every choice they made, every word they spoke, would determine whether humans would be welcomed among the stars or feared as dangerous invaders. The crew of the Enterprise. Dawn continued to explore Haven Point Station, making friends and learning about alien cultures. They didn't know that soon they would face the biggest test yet. The emergency alert came at 3 in the morning, station time. Captain Jake Morrison was awakened by flashing red lights and alarm sounds throughout Haven Point Station. Captain Morrison, please report to the command center immediately. Came. The announcement. Jake quickly dressed and ran through the station's corridors. He found Station Commander Roth surrounded by screens showing battle reports and star maps. What's happening? Jake asked. Roth's tree-like face looked worried. The hegemony of Rigel has launched an invasion fleet. They're attacking 3 peaceful colonies in the Tau Ceti system. Jake studied the tactical displays. How big is their fleet? 50 warships, Roth replied. The colonies have no military defenses. Millions of innocent people will die unless someone stops them. What about the Galactic Command? Surely they'll send help. Roth made a sound like wind through leaves, which Jake had learned was how his species expressed frustration. They're holding meetings, forming committees, writing reports. By the time they decide what to do, the colonies will be destroyed. Jake understood the problem. The aliens were so focused on avoiding conflict that they couldn't act quickly when action was needed. How long until the invasion fleet reaches the colonies? Jake asked. 18 hours, Roth replied. Jake made a decision that would change galactic history. Call Admiral Crix. Tell him I have a proposal. 2 hours later, Jake found himself on a video call with the most powerful military leaders in the galaxy. Admiral Crix appeared on the main screen, along with several other alien commanders. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Crix said, "Station Commander. Roth says you have an idea to stop the invasion." "I do," Jake replied. "Form a joint task force. Human ships and alien ships working together. We can reach the colonies in time if we leave immediately." The alien commanders looked shocked. Admiral Zorn, an insect-like creature from the military alliance, spoke first. "Impossible," he said. "Humans have no experience with fleet operations. You would disrupt our formations and tactics." "Your formations and tactics are too slow," Jake replied. "While you're organizing perfect battle plans, innocent people are dying." Admiral Crix studied Jake carefully. "What makes you think humans can help?" "Because we're willing to take risks that you're not," Jake said honestly. "We'll fight dirty if we have to. We'll break rules if it saves lives." Commander Zeph, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke. "I've seen humans in battle. They're unpredictable, but they're effective." The debate continued for an hour. Finally, Admiral Crix made a decision. "Very well. Captain Morrison, you'll command a mixed squadron, but you'll follow Galactic Command protocols." "No deal," Jake said, surprising everyone. "If you want our help, we do this our way, fast and decisive." Admiral Crix was about to refuse when another report came in. The Rigel fleet had destroyed an observation post, killing hundreds of scientists. There was no more time to debate. "Fine," Crix said. "But if this goes wrong, the consequences will be severe." Within 4 hours, an impressive fleet had assembled. At Haven Point, there were sleek Altarian cruisers, powerful Andromedan battleships, and fast Zentarian fighters. In the middle of them all sat the Enterprise Dawn, small but determined. Jake's crew had been joined by volunteers from Earth's military. Commander Sarah Blake arrived with a squadron of Earth's newest fighters. General Frank Cooper came with a battalion of Space Marines. They were humanity's best, ready to prove themselves to the galaxy. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, racing toward the Tau Ceti colonies. During the journey, Jake held strategy meetings with the alien commanders. "The Rigel ships are heavily armored," Admiral Crix explained. "They prefer to fight at long range with energy weapons." "Then we get in close," Jake replied. "Fast attack runs. Hit them where they're weak." "That's not how space battles work," Admiral Zorn protested. "Proper tactics require maintaining safe distances and organized formations." "Proper tactics are going to get those colonies destroyed." Jake shot back. The argument was interrupted by their arrival at Tau Ceti. The scene was worse than anyone had expected. The Rigel fleet was bombarding the colonies from orbit. Cities were burning and refugee. Ships were trying to escape. "All ships attack formation," Admiral Crix ordered. "Negative," Jake said. "Sarah, take your fighters and hit their flanks. Frank, get your Marines ready for boarding actions. Everyone else, follow my lead." Jake's plan was chaos compared to normal. Alien tactics. Instead of forming neat battle lines, the human ships scattered in all directions. They attacked from unexpected angles, using hit-and-run tactics that confused the enemy. Commander Sarah Blake led her fighter squadron between the large ships, targeting weak points that alien pilots had never thought to attack. Her pilots flew like they were still in Earth's atmosphere, pulling maneuvers that should have been impossible in space. "This is Blake Leader," Sarah reported. "We've taken out 6 of their engines. The flagship is losing power." General Frank Cooper's Marines did something even more shocking. They flew their assault ships directly at enemy vessels and boarded them. Alien species rarely tried boarding actions because they were too dangerous. "Cooper here," Frank reported. "We've captured 2 destroyers and are working on a 3rd. The Rigel commanders had never faced tactics like these. They were used to orderly battles with predictable moves. The humans fought like wild animals, striking from everywhere at once. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Johnson was leading the evacuation of civilians from the colonies. His ships flew down through enemy fire to rescue people from burning cities. "We've got 3,000 refugees on board," Steve reported, "going back for more." "Colonel, it's too dangerous," Admiral Crix warned. "The enemy has you in their sights." "Then tell them to shoot better," Steve replied. Diving his ship back toward the planet. Tech Sergeant Carl Davis was working with alien engineers to keep the rescued ships running. Many of the refugee vessels were damaged and barely flying. "Davis here," he reported. "I've got 20 civilian ships ready to jump to safety, sending them to the rally point now." The battle raged for 6 hours. The human tactics were working, but at a cost. Several ships were badly damaged, and many crew members were wounded. Dr. Grace Turner set up field hospitals on the fleet's medical ships. She worked alongside alien doctors to treat both human and alien casualties. "Doctor, we have wounded Rigel." "Prisoners," a nurse reported. "Treat them the same as everyone else," Grace ordered. "Wounded is wounded." This surprised the alien medical staff. Most species didn't waste resources treating enemy prisoners. As the battle continued, something unexpected happened. The alien commanders began copying human tactics. They saw that the chaotic, aggressive approach was working better than their careful formations. Admiral Crix found himself ordering his ships to attack like the humans do. It felt wrong to him, but it was saving lives. The turning point came when Jake led a desperate attack on the Rigel flagship. Instead of following safe protocols, he flew the Enterprise Dawn directly at the massive enemy ship. "Morrison, what are you doing?" Admiral Crix demanded. "Something stupid that might just work," Jake replied. The Enterprise Dawn flew under the flagship's shields and fired all weapons at point-blank range. The enemy ship's hull exploded, and its command center went dark. With their flagship destroyed and their formation broken, the Rigel fleet began to retreat. The colonies were saved, but the cost had been high. Jake's ship was badly damaged and drifting. Lisa Carter worked frantically to keep life support running. The Enterprise Dawn had taken the worst of the enemy fire during the final attack. "Captain," Dr. Grace Turner reported, "we have casualties throughout the ship, but everyone will live." Admiral Crix's ship moved alongside the damaged Enterprise Dawn. "Captain Morrison, you and your crew showed great courage today." "We did what anyone would do," Jake replied. "No," Admiral Crix said quietly. "You did what humans would do. There's a difference." The rescue operations continued for days. Human and alien crews worked together to help the survivors and rebuild the damaged colonies. For the first time in galactic history, different species were learning from each other instead of just tolerating each other. News of the victory spread across the galaxy. The story wasn't just about defeating the Rigel invasion. It was about how humans and aliens had fought side by side, each bringing their own strengths to the battle. On Centauri Prime, Chancellor Vex read the battle reports with amazement. The human tactics had seemed insane, but they had worked better than anything in the military textbooks. "Perhaps," he said to Counselor Thyra, "we need to reconsider everything we thought we knew about warfare." "And about humans," Thyra added. Galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their willingness to risk everything to protect others. Even people they had never met. Captain Jake Morrison looked out at the stars as his ship limped back toward Haven Point. The humans had proven themselves in battle, but the real test was still ahead. Could they prove they belonged among the civilized species of the galaxy? The answer would come sooner than anyone expected. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Tau Ceti. Luna Station, humanity's newest space station, orbited Earth's moon like a shining symbol of progress. Today, representatives from across the galaxy had gathered for the most important ceremony. In Human History. President Helen Martinez stood at the podium in the main assembly hall. She wore her best formal suit, but she still felt nervous. Beside her stood Chancellor Vex, his 4 gray arms folded in a gesture of respect. Today marks a new beginning, President Martinez began. For too long, Earth was isolated from the galactic community. That changes now. The assembly hall was filled with beings from dozens of different worlds. Some looked almost human, while others were so alien that humans needed special equipment just to communicate with them. All of them had come to witness Earth's entry into the Galactic Confederation. The humans have proven themselves worthy of membership, Chancellor Vex announced in his deep voice. They have shown courage in battle, compassion for the wounded, and wisdom in peace. Admiral Jake Morrison, now promoted after the successful Tau Ceti mission, watched from the audience. His crew sat nearby, still amazed by how much their lives had changed. 6 months ago, they had been on a simple test flight. Now they were galactic heroes. I hereby welcome Earth as the newest member of the Galactic Confederation, Chancellor Vex declared. The crowd erupted in cheers and alien sounds that served as applause. President Martinez signed the membership treaty with a pen, while Chancellor Vex used a device that recorded his genetic signature. After the ceremony, Jake walked through Luna Station's corridors. The station was a marvel of both human and alien engineering. Human designers had worked with alien architects to create something neither species could have built alone. He found Lisa Carter in the main engineering section, overseeing the construction of humanity's first interstellar fleet. The new ships combined the best of human innovation with alien technology. How's the project going? Jake asked. Lisa wiped sweat from her forehead and smiled. Better than expected. The alien engineers are learning to think like humans, and we're learning from their experience. The ships we're building will be unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Good or bad unlike? Jake asked with a grin. Definitely good, Lisa replied. We're making them tough enough to survive human tactics, but smart enough to use alien wisdom. In the medical bay, Dr. Grace Turner was training a mixed class of human and alien doctors. She had become famous throughout the galaxy for her work treating wounded soldiers during the Tau Ceti battle. The key to treating plasma burns, Grace explained to her students, is understanding that different species heal at different rates. Humans heal fast, but Altarians need more time. A young Zentarian doctor raised her hand. Dr. Turner, why do humans heal so quickly? Evolution, Grace replied. Humans came from a dangerous world. Our bodies had to learn to repair damage quickly, or we would have died out long ago. This was a common theme in human-alien interactions. Humans had evolved on a world that was hostile compared to most alien planets. This made them tougher, but also more willing to take risks. Dr. Amy Phillips had established the Xenobiological Research Center, where human and alien scientists worked together. They were making discoveries that neither species could have made alone. Look at this, Amy said to her research partner, Dr. Kex from the Science Alliance. She showed him data about human genetics. Humans can adapt to almost any environment. We can eat foods that would poison most aliens. We can survive in conditions that would kill other species. Dr. Kex studied the data with his large compound eyes. This explains much about human behavior. You take risks because your bodies can survive what others cannot. Maybe, Amy replied. Or maybe we take risks because we know life is short and we want to make it count. The New Horizon was humanity's most ambitious project yet. The massive exploration ship was designed to journey beyond the known galaxy into regions that had never been explored. The crew would be half human and half alien, representing the new spirit of cooperation. Captain Jake Morrison had been chosen to command the vessel. It was the greatest honor of his career, but also a huge responsibility. "Are you ready for this?" asked Commander Sarah Blake, who would serve as his second in command. "As ready as anyone can be for the unknown," Jake replied. "We're going places where no one has gone before. Human or alien, the New Horizon was not just a ship, it was a symbol. It represented everything the galaxy had initially feared about humans: their curiosity, their willingness to take risks, their refusal to accept limitations. But now these traits were seen as strengths rather than dangers. Nick Thompson, Earth's first galactic ambassador, had spent months learning alien customs and languages. He had helped negotiate trade agreements, resolved disputes between species, and established Earth's reputation as a reliable ally. "The key to diplomacy," Nick explained to his assistant, "is understanding that different species think differently. Humans are direct and action-oriented. Most aliens prefer careful consideration and consensus building." "How do we bridge that gap?" his assistant asked. "By learning from each other," Nick replied. "Humans are learning patience from aliens. Aliens are learning decisiveness from humans." Dr. Carla Stevens had become the galaxy's leading expert on cross-species communication. She had developed new translation systems that could handle the complex differences between human and alien languages. "Language isn't just words," Carla explained to a conference of linguists. "It's culture, emotion, and thought patterns. When a human says, 'I'll die before I give up,' they don't literally mean death. But some alien species take it literally and become frightened." Professor Tony Hughes had written the definitive guide to galactic cultures. His book was required reading for anyone planning to work with multiple species. "Every species has developed differently," Tony wrote in his introduction. "Humans developed on a dangerous world, so they learned to be brave and adaptable. The Altarians developed on a peaceful world, so they learned to be thoughtful and careful. Neither approach is right or wrong. They're just different." The launch day for the New Horizon finally arrived. The massive ship sat in Earth orbit, ready for its historic mission. Representatives from every member species of the Galactic Confederation had come to witness the departure. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, looking down at Earth through the main view screen. His home planet looked small and blue, just as it had on that first test flight that had changed everything. "All stations report ready," announced Commander Sarah Blake. "Engineering ready," reported Lisa Carter from the engine room. "Medical bay ready," announced Dr. Grace Turner. "Navigation ready," said Katie Barnes, now the ship's chief pilot. "Communications ready," reported Ben Hayes. Jake took a deep breath. "Take us out, Katie. Let's go see what's beyond the edge of the galaxy." The New Horizon began to move, slowly. At first, then faster as it headed away from Earth. The crew was made up of humans, Altarians, Centaurians, Andromedans, and a dozen other species. They were no longer separate peoples. They were explorers working together. President Martinez watched from Luna Station as the ship disappeared into the stars. Beside her, Chancellor Vex made a sound that humans had learned was similar too. "Hey, Psi, do you think they'll find anything out there?" President Martinez asked. "With humans involved?" Chancellor Vex replied. "They'll find things we never imagined. The question is whether the galaxy is ready for whatever they discover." Back on the New Horizon, Jake Morrison stood in his captain's quarters, looking at a picture of his crew from their first mission on the Enterprise Dawn. They had come so far from that simple test flight. A message came through on his personal communicator. It was from Admiral Crix, now retired, but still one of Jake's closest alien friends. "Captain Morrison," the message said, "I've been thinking about the day we first met. My people spent 200 years afraid of humans. We were wrong to be afraid. You weren't dangerous to us. You were exactly what we needed. Jake smiled and composed a reply. We weren't trying to be what you needed, Admiral. We were just trying to be human. And that, Jake realized, was the secret. Humans didn't need to change to fit into the galaxy. The galaxy needed humans to be exactly what they were: curious, brave, compassionate, and willing to risk everything for others. The New Horizon jumped to faster than light speed, carrying its mixed crew toward the unknown. Behind them, Earth continued to orbit its yellow star, no longer a forbidden world, but the newest member of a galactic community. On distant worlds, alien children learned about Earth in their schools. They learned about the planet where a species had evolved that refused to accept limits, that would fight pirates to protect strangers, and that believed every life was worth saving. The galaxy had tried to avoid Earth for 200 years, believing that humans were too dangerous to contact. They had been right about humans being dangerous, but wrong about what that danger meant. Humans weren't dangerous to their friends. They were dangerous to anyone who threatened innocent people. They were dangerous to pirates, tyrants, and bullies. They were dangerous to anyone who believed that some lives mattered more than others. The Enterprise Dawn, now a museum ship, sat in Earth orbit as a reminder of how everything had changed. A small plaque near the captain's chair read, "To those who came before and those who will follow, the stars belong to everyone." Admiral Jake Morrison's final log entry summed up humanity's journey to the stars. We didn't ask to be heroes. We didn't ask to change the galaxy. We just asked to be free to explore, to help others, and to be ourselves. Sometimes that's enough to change everything. The galaxy was different now. It was more dangerous in some ways, because humans had shown that sometimes you had to fight for what was right. But it was also safer, because now there were people willing to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Earth had joined the galactic community, not by becoming more like aliens, but by showing aliens that there were other ways to live, other ways to think, and other ways to face the challenges of the universe. The stars were no longer forbidden to humanity. They were home.